I arrived at the office at 7 a.m., 2 hours before our scheduled investor meeting. The San Francisco fog was still thick outside the windows of Hayes and Morrison Tech, the company I'd spent 5 years building from the ground up. I had my laptop, my presentation notes, and a thermos of coffee. What I didn't expect to find was my business partner and my CFO in the glass-walled conference room, bent over documents that shouldn't exist. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see Marcus Hayes, my business partner, my friend since college, the guy who'd been best man at my almost wedding 3 years ago, sliding papers across the table to Jennifer Morrison, our CFO, the woman I'd personally recruited from a failing startup, who'd cried in my office about getting a second chance. I stopped in the hallway, hidden by the support column. Something felt wrong. We weren't supposed to meet until 9. The investors weren't due until 9:30. So why were they here, alone, with what looked like contracts spread across the table? I pulled out my phone and started recording. Marcus pushed a document toward Jennifer. Even from 30 feet away, I could see his signature at the bottom. Jennifer signed next to it. Then Marcus pulled out another sheet, placed it on top, and pointed to something. They both looked at it and smiled. That's when I saw it. My signature. Already on the page. My hands went cold. I zoomed in with my phone camera, making sure I captured everything: the documents, their faces, the timestamps on my phone screen. 3 minutes of video. 3 minutes of my business partner and my CFO doing something with papers that bore my signature. Papers I'd never seen before. I stepped back into the stairwell and called the one person I knew would understand. David Chen had been our lead investor for 3 years. He'd put in $2 million during our Series A. But more importantly, he'd been through this before his first company had been stolen from under him by his co-founder in 2009. He'd told me the story over dinner once, warned me to always protect myself legally. "David," I said when he picked up, "are you already in the city for the meeting?" "Just parking now." "Why? What's wrong, Claire?" "I need you to come to the office right now. Don't use the main entrance. Use the side door on Howard Street. I'll meet you there in 2 minutes. "Claire, what's?" "I think Marcus is trying to steal the company. I have it on video." Silence. Then, "I'm coming up now. Don't confront them yet." I met David in the stairwell and showed him the video. His face went from confused to angry to calculating in about 30 seconds. "That's a transfer of ownership document," he said quietly. "I've seen them before. If they've forged your signature, that's fraud. But we need to be smart about this." "The meeting's in 2 hours," I said. "What are they planning to do?" David replayed the video, zooming in on the papers. "My guess? They're going to present a revised ownership structure to the new investors. Make it look like you've voluntarily reduced your stake or stepped back from operations. They get control, you get pushed out, and by the time you realize what's happened, the new money is in, and you're minority owner of your own company." I felt sick. Marcus has been my friend for 12 years. "I know," David said. His voice was gentle but firm, and that's exactly why he thought he could get away with it. "Claire, I need you to listen carefully. We're going to walk into that meeting at 9:30 like nothing's wrong. We're going to let them present whatever they're planning to present, and then we're going to bury them." "What do I need to do?" David pulled out his phone. "First, I'm calling my lawyer. She's going to conference call into this meeting as a scheduling conflict observer. Second, you're going to forward me every document you've signed in the last 6 months. Third, we need to find out if anyone else knows about this." That's when I remembered Emma Rodriguez, our 24-year-old junior developer. Marcus had been brutal to her for months, publicly criticizing her code, excluding her from meetings, once even making her cry in the break room. I'd told him to back off, but he'd insisted she wasn't cutting it. 2 weeks ago, Emma had asked to speak with me privately, then changed her mind and said it was nothing. "I think our junior dev might have seen something," I said. "Marcus has been treating her like garbage. Maybe that's why." David nodded. "Go talk to her. I'll handle the legal side. And Claire, don't let them see you sweat. You walk into that meeting like you own the place." "I do own the place," I said. 51% of it. "Exactly. And we're going to make sure it stays that way." I found Emma in the developer pod, already at her desk despite the early hour. She jumped when I approached. "Emma, can we talk in my office?" She went pale. I don't. "You're not in trouble," I said quietly. "But I think you might have information I need." About Marcus. 5 minutes later, Emma was sitting across from my desk, crying with relief as she told me everything. She'd been working late 3 weeks ago and had gone to the supply room for printer paper. The supply room shared a wall with Marcus's office, and the ventilation duct carried sound perfectly. She'd heard Marcus on the phone with Jennifer, talking about removing the obstacle, about restructuring before the Series B, about how Claire's too emotional to see what's necessary for growth, and once we have control, we can run this like a real business. "I wanted to tell you," Emma sobbed, "but he's your partner. I thought maybe I misunderstood, and he was already making my life hell. If I accused him of something and I was wrong." "You weren't wrong," I said. I showed her the video. Her eyes went wide. "Oh my God. Claire, I'm so sorry. I should have." "You're telling me now," I said. "That's what matters. Emma, I need you to write down everything you remember from that phone call. Every word. Then I need you to write down every interaction you've had with Marcus, where he's been inappropriate or abusive. Dates, times, witnesses if there were any. You're going to fire him?" "I'm going to do more than that," I said. "But I need documentation. Can you do this for me?" She nodded, wiping her eyes. "He doesn't deserve this company. You built it. You gave me a chance when no one else would hire a bootcamp grad with no degree. You're the only reason I stayed." By 8:30, I had Emma's written statement, David's lawyer on standby via video conference, and a forwarded email chain that David's forensic accountant had found in 20 minutes of digging. Jennifer had been moving money. Small amounts, hidden in operating expenses, redirected to an LLC that didn't exist 6 months ago. An LLC owned by Marcus Hayes and Jennifer Morrison. They'd been embezzling from my company to fund their takeover of my company. I sat in my office and let the rage wash over me. Then I put on my blazer, touched up my lipstick, and walked into the conference room at exactly 9:30 a.m. Marcus and Jennifer were already there, looking polished and professional. Marcus smiled at me like nothing was wrong. "Claire, you're here early. I thought we could do a quick run-through before the investors arrive." "That's fine," I said, sitting down at the head of the table. My seat. The one I'd always taken because this was my company. "What did you want to go over?" Jennifer glanced at Marcus. Something passed between them, nervousness, maybe, or anticipation. "Actually," Marcus said, "we've been thinking about the growth trajectory. Jennifer and I put together some projections, and we think it might be time to consider a different operational structure. Something that would make us more attractive to the Series B investors." "Really?" I kept my voice neutral. "What kind of structure?" The other investors started arriving. David came in looking professional and distant. Sarah Kim from Elevation Partners. John Bradford from Sequoia. They settled into their seats, accepted coffee from our office manager, made small talk. At 9:45, Marcus stood up to present. "Thank you all for coming," he said. "We're excited to talk about Hayes and Morrison's Series B round and our plans for scaling. But first, we want to address some organizational changes that we think will position us for optimal growth." He pulled up a slide. It showed a new org chart. In it, I was listed as Chief Visionary Officer, a made-up title with no operational authority. Marcus was CEO. Jennifer was COO and CFO combined. "As you can see," Marcus continued, "we're proposing a structure that leverages our executive team's strengths more efficiently. Claire has been instrumental in getting us to this point, but as we scale, we need leadership with experience in rapid growth environments. I have that experience. I scaled my last company to $50 million in revenue before the acquisition. Jennifer has been managing our finances brilliantly and is ready to take on more operational responsibility." Sarah Kim leaned forward. "Where does Claire's equity stand in this structure?" "Claire retains her equity stake," Jennifer said smoothly. "This is purely operational. She'll remain involved in product vision and company culture, which is where her strengths lie." I watched them lie to a room full of sophisticated investors and felt something inside me turn to ice. "That's interesting," I said quietly. Everyone turned to look at me. I have a question about this new structure. Of course, Marcus said. He looked relaxed, confident. When exactly did I agree to this? We discussed it last month, Marcus said. You were concerned about managing the operational load as we scale. This addresses that. Right. And these documents that formalize this new structure, when did I sign those? Marcus's smile flickered. Just for a second. We can review the paperwork after the presentation. I'd like to review it now, I said. I pulled out my laptop and opened it. David, could you connect your laptop to the screen? I have something I'd like everyone to see. Marcus's face went white. Claire, this isn't the time. This is exactly the time, I said. David plugged in, and my phone's video filled the screen. This is footage from 7:15 this morning. That's you, Marcus. And you, Jennifer, in this very conference room. Can someone tell me what documents those are you're signing? The room was dead silent. The video played. You could hear everything, their voices discussing getting this done before she arrives, their signatures being applied, their satisfaction with the completed forms. Turn it off, Marcus said. His voice was shaking. Why? I asked. We're all here to discuss organizational changes, aren't we? I think everyone should understand what's really being proposed. Sarah Kim stood up. Is that a transfer of ownership agreement? It appears to be, David said, with Claire's signature already on it. Claire, did you sign that document? No, I said. I've never seen that document before this morning. John Bradford from Sequoia leaned back in his chair. That's fraud. That's... Jesus! Marcus, what were you thinking? Marcus slammed his hand on the table. You don't understand. Claire's been holding this company back for a year. She won't make the hard decisions. She won't cut the dead weight. She spends more time worrying about company culture than revenue growth. I've been covering for her incompetence for months. Is that why you've been embezzling money? I asked quietly. The room went silent again. Jennifer's face drained of color. That's absurd, Marcus said, but his voice was weak. I looked at David. He pulled up a spreadsheet. This is your company's financial data for the past 8 months, David said. I had my forensic accountant review it this morning. There's an LLC receiving payments for consulting services Hayes Morrison Consulting Group. That LLC was registered 4 months ago by Marcus Hayes and Jennifer Morrison. The payments total $340,000. Claire, did you authorize payments to a consulting firm owned by your business partner and CFO? No, I said. I didn't. Jennifer stood up abruptly. I want a lawyer. That's an excellent idea, said a new voice from the laptop speaker. A woman's face appeared on screen. I'm Rebecca Cho, legal counsel for Mr. Chen and several of the investors in this room. I've been listening to this meeting and recording it with everyone's consent, except Mr. Hayes and Mrs. Morrison. I've also filed a preliminary injunction on behalf of Claire Edwards to freeze all company accounts pending investigation of fraud and embezzlement. The police have been notified and are on their way. Marcus looked at me with something like hatred. You sanctimonious bitch. You think you're so much better than everyone. You built this company? I wrote half the code. I brought in half the clients. I made this company what it is, and you were going to reap all the rewards while I stayed your employee forever. You owned 49%, I said. My voice was steady, cold. You were going to make millions at the IPO we were planning. But that wasn't enough, was it? You wanted it all. You're weak, Marcus spat. You care more about being liked than being successful. You gave that idiot Emma a job when she couldn't code her way out of a paper bag. You turned down the Amazon acquisition offer because you weren't ready to give up control. You're pathetic. And yet, I said, I'm still the majority owner of this company, and you're about to be arrested. The police arrived 12 minutes later. I watched them handcuff Marcus and Jennifer and walk them out of the conference room. Jennifer was crying. Marcus was still angry, still yelling about how I'd regret this, how he'd sue me for defamation, how I'd never succeed without him. When they were gone, I sat down heavily in my chair. Sarah Kim touched my shoulder. Claire, I'm so sorry. That must have been devastating, I said. Yeah, it was. I looked around at the investors. I assume you'll all want to reconsider your participation in the Series B. Actually, John Bradford said, I'm more interested now than before. You just demonstrated crisis management under pressure, strategic thinking, and the ability to make hard decisions. Those are exactly the qualities we look for in a CEO. David smiled. Claire, can we talk privately for a minute? In my office, David closed the door and sat down. You did the right thing, he said. I know. I felt exhausted. But Marcus was right about one thing. I am going to have a hard time growing this company alone. I don't have a CFO anymore. I don't have a business partner. I'm going to need to rebuild the entire executive team. What if you didn't have to rebuild alone? David asked. I looked at him. I've been thinking about moving from the investment side to operations, he said. And after what I just witnessed, I'd be honored to come on board as your COO. Equal partnership. We restructure as true co-founders. I bring my operational experience. You bring your vision and technical expertise. We do this right. I felt tears prickling at my eyes. You'd give up your fund? I'd be investing in something better, he said. A company with integrity. A CEO who values loyalty and honesty. And frankly, I think we'd make a hell of a team. I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Yes, absolutely yes. We shook hands. Then David grinned. Though I have to say, the look on Marcus's face when you played that video, that was the most satisfying thing I've seen in 10 years of investing. I recorded everything from the moment the police took them away too, I said. For the legal proceedings. Of course you did. You're a founder. Documentation is in your DNA. 3 hours later, Emma knocked on my door. Claire? There's someone here to see you. She says it's about Marcus. The woman who walked in was tall, blonde, and looked like she'd been crying for hours. I recognized her from photos on Marcus's desk. Allison? I said. Marcus's wife. I'd met her twice at company events. I'm so sorry to bother you, she said. I heard what happened. The police came to our house, and She burst into tears. I got her water, tissues, and waited. I had no idea, Allison said when she could speak, about any of it. The embezzlement, the fraud, She took a shaky breath. I found documents at home. Bank statements for accounts I didn't know existed. Emails between Marcus and Jennifer they weren't just business partners, Claire. I closed my eyes. Of course they weren't. I'm filing for divorce, Allison said. And my lawyer said I should talk to you because Marcus has been hiding assets, money that should be community property. If he stole from your company, some of that money might be in accounts that I have a legal right to half of, which means, she looked at me directly, which means I can help you recover what he stole. I sat back in my chair, processing this. Allison, if you help me, Marcus is going to know you turned on him. Good, she said, and there was steel in her voice. He's been cheating on me with Jennifer for 6 months. He's been lying about working late when he was really at her apartment. He's been stealing from you while using my name to open credit cards to fund his lifestyle. I want him to lose everything, Claire. And I want to help you make that happen. I thought about Emma, about David, about Allison sitting in front of me with determination replacing tears. I thought about how Marcus had counted on me being too weak, too emotional, too concerned with being liked to fight back. He'd been wrong about that. Okay, I said to Allison. Let's work together. But I need everything you have. Bank statements, emails, credit card records, everything. I'll get it all, she promised. I'm meeting with my attorney this afternoon. Can we set up a time for all our lawyers to talk? Absolutely. After she left, I stood at my office window and looked out over San Francisco. Somewhere out there, Marcus was probably being booked at the county jail. Jennifer, too. By tonight, the tech blogs would have the story. By tomorrow, everyone in Silicon Valley would know what had happened. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I just felt tired. Emma appeared at my door again. Claire? The team wants to have an all-hands meeting. They're worried about what this means for the company. Tell them we'll meet in the cafeteria in 30 minutes, I said. And Emma? I'm promoting you to lead developer, if you want it. Her eyes went wide. Really? You showed integrity when it mattered, I said. That's worth more than years of experience. The rest we can teach you. The all-hands meeting was brutal. 50 employees, all scared about their jobs, their stock options, their futures. I stood in front of them and told them the truth, all of it. The fraud, the embezzlement, the arrests. I know you're scared, I said. I'm scared too. But here's what I want you to know. This company is going to survive. We're going to finish this Series B raise. We're going to ship the product we've been building. We're going to do it with integrity and transparency. And if you choose to stay with me, I promise you'll never have to wonder if your leadership is lying to you. A hand went up. Rashid, one of our senior engineers. What about our stock options? If the company value drops because of this? I'm working with the board to implement a stock option protection plan, I said. If you were granted options before today, they'll be honored at the pre-incident valuation. You won't be punished because 2 people decided to commit fraud. Another hand. Keisha, from sales. Are there any other surprises we should know about? Anyone else involved? The investigation is ongoing, I said. But I'm implementing new financial controls and oversight. We're hiring an outside audit firm, and I'm creating an anonymous reporting system so that if anyone sees something concerning, they can report it safely. The meeting lasted 2 hours. By the end, I'd answered every question, addressed every concern, and promised complete transparency as the legal process unfolded. When it was over, Emma stayed behind. That was amazing, she said. The way you handled it. You were honest, but you didn't let them panic. You gave them a plan. I learned a long time ago that people can handle bad news, I said. What they can't handle is uncertainty and dishonesty. Is that why you told them everything? Even the parts that made you look, I don't know, maybe naive for trusting Marcus? Especially those parts, I said. If I pretend I knew all along, I'm lying. If I lie about that, why would they trust me about anything else? 3 months later, Marcus and Jennifer both pleaded guilty to fraud and embezzlement in exchange for reduced sentences. Marcus got 18 months, Jennifer got 14. Allison got her divorce and half of Marcus's remaining assets, which she split with me to help repay what had been stolen from the company. The Series B round closed at our original valuation. David officially joined as COO. Emma became my technical lead and started mentoring our junior developers the way I'd once mentored her. And on a Tuesday afternoon in November, I was working late when David knocked on my office door. "You should go home," he said. "It's 8 p.m., says the guy also still at the office, I pointed out. He laughed. "Fair. But I have an excuse. I'm reviewing the Q4 projections. What's yours?" "I'm creating a training program," I said, "for recognizing fraud and financial manipulation. I want every manager in this company to go through it, and I want it to be part of onboarding for new hires." David sat down across from my desk. "You're still thinking about Marcus." "Every day," I admitted. I trusted him completely. For 12 years, he was one of my best friends. How did I miss that he was capable of this? "Because you're not paranoid," David said. "And because most people aren't capable of it. What Marcus did, that's aberrant. It's not normal. The fact that you didn't see it coming doesn't mean you were stupid. It means you're a decent person who assumes other people are decent too." "Is that going to make me a bad CEO?" I asked. "Being too trusting?" "No," David said firmly. "What would make you a bad CEO is becoming cynical and suspicious of everyone. What makes you a good CEO is learning from this, putting systems in place to catch problems early, and still believing that most people are fundamentally good." I smiled. "When did you get so wise?" "About 10 years ago when my business partner stole my first company," he said. "You want to know what I learned from that experience? What? That betrayal teaches you who you really are. And Claire, you're someone who turns a crisis into an opportunity to build something better. That's rare." 6 months after that, Hayes and Morrison Tech officially became Morrison Chen Tech. We launched our flagship product to massive success. Emma's team won an innovation award. Allison started her own consulting firm helping women navigate divorce from high-powered tech executives. And me? I learned that strength isn't about never being hurt. It's about what you do when someone tries to break you. I built my company with integrity and lost it to fraud. Then I took it back with evidence and courage. And in the process, I discovered that the people who stand with you in a crisis are worth more than any business partner who only stands with you in success. Marcus sent me a letter from prison once. It was full of justifications and excuses and blame. I read it once and then shredded it. Some people never take responsibility for their choices. That was his tragedy, not mine. My tragedy was learning that someone I loved was capable of betrayal. My victory was learning that I was capable of fighting back. And on the days when I still feel that moment of doubt, when I wonder if I could have seen it coming, if I should have known, I look at the photo on my desk. It's from our company retreat last month. Emma's there, and David, and 50 other people who chose to stay and build something meaningful. That's what matters. Not the betrayal, but what you build after. That's the truth I learned. And it's a truth worth sharing.